Today, we're going to talk about a feeling, something you've probably felt deep down but couldn't quite put a finger on. We're calling it the analog ache. So let's get into it and figure out what that's all about. Okay, so let me ask you this. Have you ever missed a time you never actually knew? Like this deep feeling of nostalgia for a decade you weren't even born in? It sounds kind of weird, right? But it's actually super common. It could be a craving for a certain vibe, something you've only ever seen in old movies. Like, imagine the quiet of a 1970s backseat, that feeling of the world just rolling by the window with no phones, no screens anywhere. Or maybe it's something even simpler, like the glow of a microwave clock in a totally silent house. Just that low hum, a kind of peace and quiet that feels almost impossible to find these days, doesn't it? If any of this is ringing a bell, you are so not alone. And it's way more than just missing the good old days. It's this really intense feeling, almost like an ache for a world that was just analog. So, what's the deal with that? Why do we feel this so intensely? Well, the reason is actually pretty fascinating. And believe it or not, it all comes down to how your brain is wired to tell the story of you. And you won't believe the real reason why this happens. Seriously, wait till you hear this. This feeling isn't just random. It's a huge clue about something really important going on in your mind. And honestly, understanding this one little thing, it changes everything. Okay, so the big idea here is something called narrative identity. It's basically the story you tell yourself about yourself. It's this internal, always evolving story that connects your past, your present, and who you want to be in the future. It's kind of like your own personal movie. So how do we build this story? It's basically a three-step process. First, our brain collects all these memories, right? The good, the bad, all of it. Then we start to find a theme, a common thread. Maybe it's I'm resilient or I love to learn. And finally, we tell that story, weaving everything together. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. For a lot of us, the actual ingredients for that story, the memories themselves, have completely changed. We've lived through something huge, the great digital shift. Think about it. Many of us grew up during this massive civilizational shift. Whether you remember a time before smartphones or you were born right into it, your life kind of sits between two totally different worlds, the analog and the digital. And this wasn't just a small change. It changed how we experience being alive. And this is the key difference. Before, an experience was something you just lived. It was private. It was unfiltered. But now, in the digital world, so many of our experiences are documented. They're performed for an audience, and they're carefully curated to look a certain way. And that's a huge deal, because if the kind of memories we're making is different, then of course the story we tell ourselves about our lives, our narrative identity, that's going to be different too. And this all leads us right back to that feeling, that ache. It's basically our brains craving something that feels missing from our modern stories. It's a craving for something that just feels, well, real. So let's get one thing straight. This nostalgia isn't really for simpler times. It's not about wanting to go back to a time without all the progress we've made. No, it's something much, much deeper than that. It's a biological longing for get this, a texture of experience that didn't need to be constantly documented just to feel real. It's a deep down need for experiences that feel real on their own, without needing a picture or a post to prove they happened. I love that phrase, texture of experience. It's so good, right? But what does it actually mean? What is texture? Well, it's those moments that are just for you. Feelings that aren't being performed for anyone else. It's about living life without constantly seeing it through a lens. Basically, it's about having experiences that feel real and complete all on their own. Okay, so what do we do with all this? Your story is your choice. It's not about throwing away your phone and running off to the woods. It's about listening to what that ache is trying to tell you. That analog ache is basically a craving for authenticity in our digital world. Think of it like a compass inside you, pointing toward things that are more genuine and real. So, don't ever think that feeling is silly. It's not a bug, it's a feature. It's actually a really important clue from your brain telling you what you might need to feel more whole. So I want to leave you with this question. Now that you know all of this, how are you going to find a little more of that texture in your digital world? What's one small thing you can do to have a moment that's just for you?